I'm Lisa Haisha. Welcome to the Legacy Interviews. Today I have Bruce Garnitz, and he played at my wedding 8 years ago. We were really searching for the right band, and I listened to so many and interviewed probably a dozen, and he really stuck because I went to his home and I met his wife. I loved the whole atmosphere, and I knew he was about really celebrating life. He does this from his heart. He would do it for no money, for a lot of money. He loves music. And I wanted that energy at my wedding, not someone who was just playing a gig and wanting to get paid. And this guy made my wedding one of the best, most memorable days of my life. And we've somewhat kept in touch, a little more through Facebook. And I wanted to bring him here today because he has so many interesting stories to share. And he's been on so many various journeys, moving to different places. He married at such a young age. He's been married over 40 years, maybe 50, and 40. And that's a lot, especially in Hollywood, especially being a musician. So I want to know his secrets, and I want to share them with you. Enter Bruce.
All
Hi.
right. Hello, Lisa.
It's so good to have you here.
It's so good to be here. Absolutely.
Yeah, after
Terrific.
8 years.
It's unbelievable, 8 years.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It seemed like it was yesterday. I'm telling you.
I know. So tell me, you're still playing all over LA. You're still doing weddings. You're still, living your legacy and enjoying your life.
Absolutely. I don't have a plan B, Lisa. So it's what I do.
Talk to me about that. Everyone's told to have a plan B. What do you think of plan Bs?
Well, I just know that for me, I never really had an interest in a plan B. I've played guitar since I was 12 and 13 and had bands in junior high school and high school. And when I came to California, moved to San Francisco, I formed a band and joined bands. And then when I moved to Boston, played in bands, started bands, came to Los Angeles, and I've been doing the same thing, and I've been writing songs all along, and just enjoying what I do. Anything that puts the guitar in my hand and puts great musicians next to me, and us just making it a groove thing, it feels great, so I haven't stopped.
But if someone out there wants to be a musician, and they're saying their parents are telling them, their friends are telling them it's so hard to make it in this business, to make a living, have a plan B. What do you think about that? Do you think that's smart advice?
I think it's smart advice. I think it's smart advice, and I also think that if you really want to do what I'm doing, you have to want to do this and only this.
It has to be a deep passion.
It really has to, because there's too many times that, it's too easy to, do something else.
Yeah, for me being around this business, I found that unless you want it like 150%, because a lot of people even want it 100%, you have to go that extra mile, that extra 50% to even have a chance at it, because it's so saturated with talented people here.
I think you do. But I always want to encourage people to make music any part of their lives that they can. So for someone else, it doesn't have to be their total focus. If you have that total focus, if you want to write songs, if you want to, play in front of people, if this is everything, then, it's all right maybe to have a plan B, but any way that you can make music part of your life, I think that's wonderful.
How did you manage the business side and the artist side? Because that's one of the big issues that I've dealt with. A lot of artists who sit on this couch when I'm coaching them. They're saying, I'm a great musician, but I don't know how to do all the producing stuff, how to promote myself, and I don't know how to get out there. So a lot of the most talented aren't even working because they don't have that skill.
Yeah.
How would you respond to that?
Well, that is a tough thing, because right now, especially in this world, the way music business is right now, you have to be that producer. You have to be that, unless you have something, some force behind you, a record company or funding of some kind. You have to kind of learn how to do it all. I've always, for a while I had in Boston years ago, I had managers and agents. But I've always kind of represented myself and then worked through agents or.
I found you through a wedding planner. So did you go to a lot of wedding planners and say, I exist?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely. No, you have to be proactive. You have to.
what are some tips? Give me 3 tips for people who want to get in on the business side that they have to do if the talent is solid.
Right.
And they love that and they're good at that. What 3 things or 5 things can they do on the business side, or do they need to work on?
Well, you have to have a focus. You have to know what audience you want to play for. And if you want to, in Los Angeles and many other cities, one of the ways to make a living and play music is to play private events. And so I look at them in 2 categories, corporate events and social events. And corporate events have corporate party planners, and social events have wedding coordinators and people like that. And so, because I can do both, and I've played for corporate events and social events, it's kind of a 2-pronged attack, you might say. So 3 things to do. I would say that you have to get your act together as far as media goes. If you're a band, you have to make a video of the band and put the right music that you want on that video and the right presentation, and go for know your audience, who you want. If you're looking to do fun, wild parties, then you dress the part and you put that on the video, and you get your website together. And I'm lucky that my wife is a website person.
Oh, that's wonderful.
She's learned to do many things,
so your
to help
wife
us support
helps support you.
Absolutely.
So it's about delegation or finding a partner. Then maybe you're the artist and finding, even if it's not a business manager, a producing partner.
Absolutely.
Someone to market
That's
you,
wonderful.
produce you. And
That's wonderful. If you can get anybody on your team.
Because sometimes you're not, you can't be jack of all trades. You don't have that skill. So trying, you're going to fail.
I'm lucky my partner's in-house.
Yes. No wonder why you're married for so many years.
Literally.
Yes.
And so social, then you take that product and you make phone calls and you say, hi, I'm Bruce Garnitz. I do weddings, and I'd like to show you my stuff. And you do everything you can to make a presentation, and from there you just keep putting yourself out there. You have to keep your product up. If you're doing new material, I'm always doing new material, so it means writing arrangements, and I know how to do that, and rehearsing bands, and then doing the business side of it. So it's like, as far as a plan B and doing something else, it's a 24-hour job, really. That's what I've found. So I haven't really had the time to look at something else.
Okay.
Yeah. Did I do 3 things? Did I do?
Yeah. That's good. So tell me a little bit about how you started. You were first from Boston. Then what was your journey?
Well, actually, I'm originally from Chicago.
Okay, originally from Chicago.
And I left Chicago when I was 17 and moved to San Francisco. San Francisco was just calling me. I just needed to get to San Francisco. And
I could see that. But your drives are still there.
I think I am still there. I am still there. I am still 17. This is one of the things that always comes up, And I don't know if it's a good thing or,
It is what it is. That's what makes you
That's
you.
true.
That's great.
That's true. And I spent 3 years in San Francisco, and I actually I was completely self-taught on guitar and music, and just learned. I had bands in junior high school and high school. I came out to San Francisco, and I walked into a music store, and there was a fellow by the name of Steve Hall. Steve, if he's watching this, will love that. Draper's Music, right on University Avenue in Palo Alto. And I walked in and I said, I really want to learn more about jazz. I kind of was buying books and trying to figure it out, but I really needed some guidance. And so Steve had gone to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and he started teaching me and really expanded my love of jazz and my playing. And I started taking a correspondence course with Berklee College of Music, an arranging course. And I wound up, after about 3 years in San Francisco, moving to Boston, where I went to Berklee College of Music, and then I wound up teaching there. I was younger than most of the musicians, and for some reason these offices saw that I had some kind of a talent and a charisma for leading parties, and so I would be leading parties with these musicians that were twice my age, you know, and that always made for interesting some interesting moments. But the great thing is also I played with musicians who were older than I was, and I really gained their experience, and I really
that's a wonderful thing to actually, even if you're an artist and you want to be a solo act or whatever, to play with other groups and bands to just get that camaraderie too, and to help each other, because I think community is so important. Mm-hmm. Well, and then learning from others, learning from elders of what they went through, really like as mentors instead of just reading about them.
I was very lucky that I got to, Steve was older than I was, you know, when I actually joined his trio. He moved from guitar to Hammond B3, and we were playing all these lounges and clubs in the Bay Area. And I was just getting this wonderful experience, you know, there was a fellow by the name Nate Pruitt who was singing and playing drums. And I just learned so much about singing and phrasing and also about being a human being and interacting with others. And we had ups and downs where we actually, we played a club for 3 weeks, and all of the checks from those 3 weeks bounced, which was quite a surprise.
That's not fun.
Not fun at all. And I kind of knew at that moment that this was all I knew how to do. I only knew how to play basically in lounges and clubs, and I wrote songs. And I wanted to learn more about music and expand what I could do. And so that's what got me going to, I actually joined a road band that took me across country playing, it was a show band, and dropped me off in New Jersey 4 days before school started in Berklee. And my Berklee experience was making me a musician and able to write and communicate and orchestrate and do those things. So I've always wanted to, learn more, and that was kind of put me on the road. And since then, moving to Los Angeles.
Yeah, how did you get here? Why Los Angeles?
Well, I was in Boston for 5 years, and I really felt that I'd gone as far as I could go in Boston. Not that there aren't wonderful things to do in Boston, but just for me personally, I was teaching at Berklee. I thought that was wonderful. I was playing also 6 nights a week and teaching. So, and I just didn't see that changing for me. So I know it was either I had to go to New York, where I actually had contacts and knew people, and or go to Los Angeles. The only other place was Nashville, and my heart wasn't in country music at the time, and so it was a terrible blizzard the last year in Boston, so that was helpful. And New York cold, Los Angeles warm,
Yes,
so we wound up coming to Los Angeles, and I actually came out with a drummer. We had a duo. I was playing guitar and bass pedals, and he was playing drums, and we were both singing, and we worked our way kind of back across the country. Rapid City, South Dakota. We played at the Alex Johnson Hotel for 3 weeks.
Oh,
and,
God, fun.
Crazy. And we had
the good old days.
Absolutely. And we wound up, in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles had its own challenges as far as making a living here. It was different than in Boston, so we kind of had to adjust. And that's what, after a little bit, that's when I really got involved in going for playing social events, corporate events, and contacting. First, just being a musician and playing with different bands and being a part of different bands that were playing those events. And then shortly, I kind of picked the great musicians. It's a wonderful way to meet musicians in Los Angeles, is to work for a lot of different people. And I could kind of pick and choose these great musicians, and they wound up being part of my band, some of which I'm still playing with. And then when we formed our own company, about 10 years later, formed our own company, then things just kind of grew from there.
So you have some of the same band members that you've had for many years.
Yes, absolutely.
So how do you do that? So many bands break up. There's so many in-house fighting or drugs or
well,
all the issues. Did you go through all of that?
well,
or
people
did you?
people do come and go. People do come and go, but
But
here in Los
how was it with all those challenges, especially, in the 70s or 80s, or with drugs or
Yeah.
just people, like you're saying, coming and going?
yeah, all that definitely was around. I
Okay.
mean, and
Did you get mixed up in that?
not
Or did you
you
stay
know
away
just
from
on the
it?
periphery.
Okay, on the periphery.
On the periphery.
But never where it hindered your career.
No, absolutely not. There's some of those folks that did wind up going down that path, and we lost a few good friends doing those kinds of things. But in Los Angeles, if you're making the commitment to live in Los Angeles, then usually you wind up doing. Most musicians I know do a number of things. They perform, they write, they play sessions, and I call it you shoot at everything that moves. Can you do this? I can do it.
Okay.
I'll be there. and that's how. And that's basically. So those few musicians that have stayed with me, they're great writers, and the thing that we do is we love playing together. It's like we'll drop something else. We'll get a sub for something else to come and play together for this event that we're going to do.
That was my experience of working with you. Whatever I said, well, I need this. Can you do this? You're like, sure, sure, sure. And then I'm like, this guy says yes to everything. And I was a little doubtful going, oh my God, what did I do? He's jack of all trades, so he's probably not going to be that good on stage. And we need a song written, and we want the Beach Boys song to say "You Rocky Girls" instead of California Girls. And
I can do that.
I'm like, he could do anything. I don't know. And I was a little nervous. And then when I saw you perform, you came through in spades. Yeah. Everyone said the band was great. Who was your band? I want his information.
Yeah, I love exceeding expectations.
You did. You did. And sometimes when people say, yeah, sure. Like I directed a feature. And I hired, all the different leads, whatever, for each department, the heads of departments for, stage and the prop masters. Oh, I can make those props. I could do this. I could do that, because they all wanted the job. Costume designer. Oh, I can do this. I could do that. Once I got on the set, they couldn't do it. I'm like, you guys said you could. One of them said, I just needed the job. I need to. And I'm like, oh, is this going to be one of those times?
Not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to just stress that when you say you can do it, people shouldn't say they could do it if they can't, but you knew you could.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you say, I could do
there's
anything.
There's a major confidence factor.
Yeah, major confidence factor, yes. Because it's not cool to go to someone's event and say, I could cover those tunes when you can't, or I could.
Or if you can't, then it's up to you to delegate and get somebody who can, so that you shine. Absolutely. Or I can do that, but I'll need to. You be honest with that person who's hiring you and say, yes, we can do that, but we're going to have to hire just one more element to make this happen. And if you want that, we can do that for you.
Yes.
So you have to be honest. I think that's why I've been in business for so long, and I don't think there's anybody that has a poor word to say about what we do.
I don't think so.
we just want to come through. For people.
And it's the camaraderie.
Yeah. And there's nothing like at the end of the engagement, like at your wedding, when you go, God, it couldn't have been any better. And then you just know that you're. It's also wonderful. It's a certain feeling of being appreciated.
Yeah,
and I love that. I love that feeling. I love being on stage and I see people, react, and I'm always looking around the room. And I want to make sure everybody is having a good time. And if I'm doing an original music show, I want people to listen to the words, but I also want them to have a good time. And we are entertainers, and I hope that when I play original music, it's something that's totally different than playing, for someone's event. You're there to play. You should know your role, what you're there for.
Yes.
You should not only know your audience, but know what your role is to that audience. And if your role is to get people up and dancing, and during this period of time, then that's your mission. You haven't succeeded unless you do that. And then if it's your role, I'm also an MC, so to very subtly make the room, quiet if someone needs, if attention needs to be focused somewhere else. That's part of my job. I really just take great pride in making that happen without hitting people over the head, so to speak.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all about the demeanor. Yes.
Yes, in a non-obnoxious way.
Yes.
Getting people and doing it with. I find that when you do things with a little bit of humor, it goes a long way to people buying into the moment, and I'm kind of lucky that way. Yeah, I have fun with what I do.
Yeah, can you tell me an obstacle that you've had and how you came over it, like a setback, and how you recovered from it?
Let's see.
If you've had a setback.
Oh, I mean, the economy is a setback, you might say.
So what happened?
Well, when the economy went down, people stopped having the kind of parties they were having. They were they were looking at their money, much differently. Companies, corporations, many of them that we worked for, stopped having these elaborate parties that we would do great. We'd come in and we'd do the band, and we'd do to go along with the theme of the party. We'd bring in celebrity lookalikes, and we'd maybe arrange for lighting and all those kinds of things. And a lot of that. And we also were traveling. We had a couple of clients that sent us to places. The Caribbean, we went many times for one night or for their incentive parties for their employees. And that, with the economy going down, really just completely dried up and stopped. And so...
did you ever have to slip into Plan B?
Well, I didn't slip into Plan B, but I did more of the other things that I've done musically in my life. I taught at Berklee College of Music.
Okay.
I started teaching more. And I've always loved to teach. I've actually taught before I went to Berklee College of Music. In San Francisco, I drive to people's homes and teach them how to play guitar. So I've been doing this a long time, and I've always loved it. And it just so happens that a few other opportunities opened up, and I kind of embraced, you might say. And so I'm teaching, privately, but I also teach at a couple of different schools, and just get great satisfaction, doing that. And I also promised myself many years ago, and that I would play in hospitals for kids in their hospital rooms. And I, once or twice a month, through a wonderful organization called Art of Elysium, I go and walk the halls. I'm the roving troubadour of the hallways, and play for kids if
That's wonderful.
yeah.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, I've done it before. I used to do it at Cedars-Sinai Hospital as a volunteer, but I wasn't able to go to the kids' room as much. And Art of Elysium absolutely focuses on the kids, and also now the elderly. And I have some just incredible. Behind every door is a story. It's amazing. I'm very lucky to be able to do that. And I have to tell you, when we were so busy with the office, doing 3 and 4 and 5 parties a week, I didn't have time to do that kind of thing. So you might say this obstacle of the economy, and I'm writing more songs.
That's wonderful.
And
so
I'm
you're
playing
just
my
working other parts of your creativity and
I'm
giving back. And
right. I'm
Yes.
able to play my original music shows, which I had no time to do before, and that's, to me, that's probably the most fulfilling, is to be able to play my own music.
Mm-hmm. What's the best advice you would give to yourself today, your 17-year-old self today?
Don't let any moment go by that you're not really giving 100%. There was a time when I first arrived in Los Angeles, a window of about 5 years that I came out here to do my own music, and to Los Angeles, and to write for film and TV, which I did. I have had some minor successes, nothing major, but some things that I got to do. And there was a period of time when, at the time, you'd go to every record company and give your demos, and I was constantly giving my demos. And at one particular point, I remember it was, we had put together this great demo package. I had this phenomenal singer in the band. His name's Kelly Hansen. Kelly's now singing for Foreigner. He's just an incredible singer, and he sang my music, my songs so incredibly well. And we took it to we were just getting going. We were just playing the Troubadour and places like that. And Kelly, who's younger than me, got a 6-night-a-week gig someplace or with some band, and then wound up going with a great 80s band. And that kind of took the wind out of my sails at that particular moment. And when I should have just really kept punching at it, and I think that something else might have happened. But then again, I might not have, gone into the social events and corporate events and doing that thing. So I think I have no regrets, but I would tell someone that don't let up. Don't let up. And because I was at that particular age where people my age were getting signed to record deals. And I let the wind got knocked out of my sails a bit, and I started I took a little more easier route, and I started gliding, and I focused more of the attention somewhere else, even though I kept writing, and
Is it kind of like, you felt this is a more challenging road that I may not make it, so let me settle for this, because I know I'll make it here. And it's still not settling, because you're playing big events, weddings, corporate events, but you're not going to be the next
I didn't do that
Stones.
consciously. I was tired. Because at the time, there wasn't social media. And you made cassettes, and you went and delivered them to all the record companies in Hollywood, and that was a full-time job. And so I just feel that at that particular moment, I probably let up. I started. I had a TV success writing for TV, and so I started going more in that direction. And that was, still all good. All good.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, all good. I have no complaints. But if you ask me if there's something that you would tell your is just keep at it. If you've got the energy, do it. And I still have the energy,
Just
by the way.
believe in yourself. Yes. So I want to know about the secret to marriage. How has marriage helped you through this journey? Since you've been married for such a long time in this business, which is so rare.
Yeah.
And you said she's such a strong partner. She does a lot of behind-the-scenes work for you, the websites.
Yeah. Well, she's an incredibly strong person, first of all. And I'm just amazed that she's picked up my option every year. I just,
Right. Absolutely. Kudos to her.
I tell you.
It would be tough, right?
Really, she's,
But you've been together since you were kids.
well, basically, I met her when I was still 17. Within the first 2 weeks in San Francisco, moving from Chicago.
Yes.
I hadn't finished high school yet, and we've been basically together ever since. And when we joined that show band, we came across country to Boston, and not knowing a soul in Boston, and then we moved to. 5 years later, we moved to Los Angeles. Didn't know a soul in Los Angeles, and we've.
You made it work.
Yeah. We're really supportive of each other. I think that you really want to make the other person feel great. What they're doing, and Ginger's definitely had her own successes. But she's also run our business for the last 20 years. Absolutely.
So it's a great partnership.
Yeah, we've had our own company for like 24 years. So, and she's basically been the mainstay. And you talked to her. The first voice on the phone you
Yes.
talked to would have been Ginger.
Yes. Both
So-
times, actually.
Yeah.
And she's a great front person.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and she doesn't want to be in front of the camera, so to speak. Yeah, she wants to be behind the scenes, and she's actually great with people, and
Oh, she's lovely.
yeah,
Yes.
and she's gone to networking things for the
For the band.
for the business, and so that's great. And it's not that doesn't all come natural to her, but she's wonderful at it. And,
Yes.
And I'm just, really lucky, in that way. And she does all kinds of,
One tip, a secret to success in marriage, since that's supposedly challenging here in Los Angeles, especially with artists?
I think it could be, don't give up easily. There's a reason that you got together in the first place. Don't let it go on a whim. And it doesn't mean that we haven't had our times when things have been sketchy. And I'm especially very lucky that we work through things, and it's happened a few times, in this journey, you might say.
So you're saying just staying present, staying with it, and don't rush to end. Work it out, because whoever you meet, it might have worse issues. The grass isn't always greener, but unless it's horrible.
Well,
But
I think if you realize there was some reason you got together in the
Yes.
first place, and you wanted to make it work, I think you owe it to each other to do everything you can to make it work. And if you have to get professional help to do that, which we did a few times, I think that's really important. It's just
valuing that commitment.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if it goes the other way and it doesn't work, then that's
You've tried your best.
showbiz. Yeah.
Yes,
You can't say that, you can't look back with that regret that you didn't give it that shot.
Yes. So one last question.
Yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, gosh. I just hope I've, helped some people along the way. I teach at a school for the blind, and those kids are incredible, and I'm hoping that what I've been able to show them, and help them with will, put them on a great path musically, however they want music to be part of their lives, and my other students, and there's whole families that I've been like on retainer for. I've done the weddings, I've done the bar mitzvahs, I've done, and so if they look back at their videos through the years and they go, this guy keeps on showing up playing at all our events, so maybe I had a nice part of that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I've also helped keep my musicians working, which I love to do. I love to keep my friends working.
Yes.
If there's anything I can do to do that, if it's working with me or if it's, submitting their names for something else I hear about, I just love to make that happen. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
You
Lisa,
certainly
thank
make so
you.
many people smile.
Oh, that's
so.
great.
I'm honored to have you lead my event
Oh.
and MC it and play on the 20th. So thank you.
Oh, I'm
'Cause
so looking forward to being there. We're going to rock.
I know, and you're the
Absolutely.
perfect person to represent legacy. So
Fantastic.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here, really.
You're welcome.